Our goal today is simple, to prove you why it is unjustified to ban all the production and the consumption of meat. So before we get to our models, let's move to the rebuttals. So the opening government team only bring two arguments, which I think is insignificant. The first one is about the immorals, and the second one is about the impact. So for the first one, they said killing is not involved in under the side of the house. However, the definition of the slaughtering or the purpose of slaughtering is not just to end the life of the animal, it's just like that. But there's a purpose, an actual purpose to fill our life needs, like our nutrition or our etc. It is just mainly to kill the animal just as we want it. So for the second one, for the impact, first one is the health. They say in our side of the house will mainly cause many cases of obesities. But as we know, obesity is mainly caused by sugars and carbohydrates. This comes from the vegetables or the plants, and meat just mainly contains protein. And for the second one, on the other side of the house, nutrients will not be fully exist, because for the people that suffers in anorexia, they need much protein, and protein mainly comes from the meat. And if the other side of the house says it can be replaced with egg, it is not enough, because it can be comparable, like the nutrients in the meat can be comparable with the nutrients that the egg contains. So, and what about the people that are allergic to egg? So we think that the meat can't be replaced at all. And for the second one, the environment section, they said in our side of the house, it produces more carbon. But I think it is not entirely true, because in the government will produce way more carbon. Because plants produce more carbon. Why? Because if they wanted to replace all the meat, they need a whole bunch of plants, which means they must dig the grounds and plant the egg, they plant the plants, and etc. If they still will make the carbon even more. Even if they say hydroponic plants exist, it is not accessible for all the people. It is really expensive. And for the third one, they said about the culture or the religion. We think the alternative doesn't exist in some religion. If you take an example like Islam, there is kurban, which can be replaced with other vegetables or plants. But moving on to our models, we want to stick with the current status quo. But what we will do is, first, the state will campaign about the overconsumption will be focused even more. So considering how in status quo the society already understand, or it is progressive. And the second one, the regulation will be more strict for the production and the slaughtering. And the third one, the regular inspection will be done regularly. And last, we will sue the company that breaks the regulation. Thus, it is effective under our side. Moving on to my arguments, today I will bring you two main arguments about the characterization of the company, and the second is accessibility. So for the first one, the characterization of the company. The company first made up with thousands of workers that is trained and have special or certain skill regarding the company's focuses. And the second one, it is built with complex process, like firstly you have to draw the building, calculate every machine that must be purchased, the span of the building, the production cost, and etc. So, and the third one, providing jobs, which could lead to providing food and health for the workers, especially laborers. This characterization of company, especially those who work in the production of meat, show how it's very unjustified to suddenly stop it and switch it to other kinds of business. But furthermore, the characterization of the company, the first one is made up with special skill regarding on their focus. It is hard or even impossible for them to switch forms of business, like they are used to produce meat, they won't be used to produce vegetables. And the second one, there is a lot of companies as a competitor. If you just getting started, still building trust and etc., your enemy or competitor already there or already run their business, which means we could lose in the competition side. And for the third one, stimulus from the government is not enough. The OG said that they will provide them with money, but like we said before, building a company, it's a lot of money. So if they will change all the meat production, they would likely to spend more money on the changes that they want to make. And for the second one, the other kind of stimulus is in the form of this training process. Like what we said earlier, certain company needs a certain focus, a certain training process for the workers. So if they try to train the people, we think the stimulus isn't enough. So even all of it as being done, we think it will not be maximum because the quality of the product itself will decrease. So we move on to the second point, it is about the accessibility. So first, let's move to the characterization of the upper and the lower. The upper class is the people that have much money, and the lower class are the people that likely have less money. So for the accessibility, upper class can access this kind of vegetables or food easily because they have money. But for the lower class, they can access it. How it's very expensive. For example, vegetarian bacon is way more expensive rather than the pork one, and etc. This shows how difficult for the people to have access to this. So why is the accessibility important? For the first one, because the government purpose is to guarantee that the society has access to food in easy way or affordable. And the second one is to fill the needs of the nutrients of the people. And the third one, to prevent them to getting malnutrition. Moreover, the meat can be frozen, smoked, and could be long-lasting, which would minimize their spending of money. Therefore, it is significant to begin with. And how about those who cannot eat vegetables but still need nutrients? For example, like children, you cannot just force them to eat vegetables. Like if not, they will not eat. But they really like meat, so you can replace that meat with other vegetables. It is very harmful to ban the consumption of meat for these people, as they don't have alternative. So therefore, for companies and other society, like lower class and etc., it is immoral for the government to ban the production and consumption of meat. With all of the reason, we are really proud to oppose.